Good morning, everyone. It's me, Rory Paddock for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. Second time's a charm, just making sure that the sound's working. However, here we are. It's just coming up to 10:15. It's Friday, the 3rd of March, and I've got 4 horses at massive odds that I think you should take very, very seriously. The bookmakers seem to be quite generous today, so hopefully we can capitalise on that and make our Friday extra special, get a bit of that Friday feeling, and hopefully build up our bank balance before a certain 4-day festival in a week or two's time. So, if you've not seen any of our videos before, make sure you give us a quick like, put any comments below in terms of any selections you like the look of today. What I'm also going to do is we've got Dundalk and Newcastle, both evening meetings. I'm going to be putting across the bottom my selections for every race at that meeting. You can see there we've got Dundalk. Halfway through this video, that'll change to Newcastle. So stay tuned and make sure that you get involved with that. So without further ado, I think it's about time that I get stuck into today's tips live. My first selection, like I said, all of them come on the all-weather, but we're going to head to Lingfield first of all this afternoon. It's the 225, and at 20-1, I think Ostilio is an absolutely massive price, and I will tell you why. It's a massive price for a horse that's now £30. It's rated £30 below its last winning all-weather mark. Now, that win only came in January of last year. All right, yes, it's not won in nearly 14 months, but it's not as if this horse hasn't won for 3-4 years, and its mark's just absolutely nosedived. It's been out of form, it's past it, it's way too old, etc., etc. It's only been 13 to 14 months, so it's not into, all right, it's not the most prolific, but again, it's not fallen off a cliff, and £30 in racing is absolutely massive. Not only that, the horse's record here at Lingfield includes 4 top 3 finishes from just 5 starts at this course. So, all things considered, his weight is absolutely fantastic in regards to his rating. His course record is brilliant, and his odds at 20-1. Yeah, I'll take a bit of that. Also, there's 8 runners set to line up, so hopefully all 8 enter the stalls, and we get the first 3 places for each way purposes. Ostilio, each way, 225 at Lingfield, 20-1. Thank you very much. And hopefully he does the business in the 225. Now, where should we go next? Do we go to Dundalk? Do we go to Newcastle? I'll tell you what, I'll put up Newcastle selections at the bottom of the screen there for every race. And we'll do it in time order. So we'll go to Newcastle. Now, this horse that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen, there's 2 horses in the same race. It's not something I would normally do, but both of them are just too good to ignore. First up, we've got Mosterlim. That's in the 7:15 at Newcastle. And Mosterlim, again, 40-1, way too big. It's especially for a horse who's unbeaten over this course and distance. 2 starts over the C&D resulted in 2 victories. Absolutely loves it at Newcastle. 4 runs here. They've ended up with form figures of 3rd, 1st, 1st, and 2nd. So clearly, absolutely relishes the course up in the northeast. What else have we got here? A pound below his last winning mark. Last win, it came at Kempton last year, the end of September. So again, waited to go well. What else have we got there? Yeah, the Yard are in form as well. The Yard have bagged 8 winners in the last 2 weeks. Seems to have their horses going very well. So all things considered, 40-1. Yeah, about a horse who's unbeaten over the course and distance. Never finished outside of the top 3. Now, obviously, I'm saying all this, it's going to curse it. It'll finish stone last. But you put sort of a bit of a logical spin on things. Ticks plenty of boxes. And for a horse at 40-1 that ticks all those boxes, just seems a bit ludicrous. Now, unless you know that the horse's leg's fallen off, and touch wood it hasn't, then I think 40-1 is awfully generous. For Mosterlim, in the 7:15 at Newcastle. Also in the same race, gonna go with, if we can bring that up. There we go. Spartan Fighter. This one's at 28-1 at best odds at the time of going live. And I'll be honest with you, don't know if you ever heard of the term a cliff horse. It's a horse that you're following, and you'd follow it off a cliff. It's not quite at that point with this horse with me, but I have got into my head and I am convinced that this horse is going to win soon. Now, when that's going to be, I'm not too sure. Hopefully it's tonight, especially at odds at 28-1. But I just expect that it's going to pop up at decent odds with a decent performance. And I'd hate to not tell you guys and it go and win, then basically give you and it ends up losing. Look, if it's going to end up landing at 20-1 or 25-1, we can have a couple of hits, a couple of races, and hopefully within then it finally gets its head in front. Anyway, like I said, I've convinced myself that it goes in. It's a course and distance winner. Last victory came at this meeting last year. Connections, I'm hoping, could have planned for a repeat performance at the same meeting. Fingers crossed. Especially now it's off a £9 lower mark. What's also worth noting is that the same jockey who rode the horse to victory last year at this meeting gets the leg up once again. Look, 28-1, course and distance winner, below its last winning mark, has the jockey who rode the horse the last time it won here last year. Look, those are boxes that are being ticked that I think at 28-1 is worth an each way play. Why not? Spartan Fighter to go close in the 7:15. Now, last but by no means least, we're going to go over the Irish Sea, head on over to Dundalk. They're 8 o'clock, and at 50, that's right, 50-1, I'm going to go with Pulse of Shanghai. Now, I've got to be honest, slightly more tentative than the other ones, as I'm sure you can imagine at those odds. And what probably puts me off or makes me less confident, at least, is the fact that it's drawn out in stall 13. It's not the best, but horses have been known to overcome it. It's, look, it's not something that's going to aid the horse's chances, but it's not something that's going to make you write off a horse entirely. So at 50-1, I think it's probably worth a little flutter. Going through the form, like I said, it hasn't been given the best draw in stall 13. I'm going to overlook that. And it just seems that the bookmakers are feeling rather generous. Like I said, at 50-1, I just think that's way too big. It's massive for a former course and distance winner whose 5 career winning marks / ratings have been 88, 78, 72, 67, and 71. Tonight, he's racing off a rating of 63. So if you imagine at his best, he's won off 88, now on 63, £25 below his best. Certainly weighted to go well. He's not the most prolific, I've got to be honest, but he did show glimpses of form. I think he finished 6th of 14 the last time he was over this course and distance. And that was behind a really talented winner. The winner actually was bought for a sizable fee and has probably got a relatively decent future. So I think the form of that race could actually work out rather well, albeit in a relatively low grade. It'll benefit from the jockey's £5 claim. Look, the race looks really open. You could make a case for half the field, if I'm being totally honest. But his odds are just too good to ignore. 50-1, stranger things have happened. We'll take a bit of that. Pulse of Shanghai even to go well in the 8 o'clock at Dundalk. Those are my 4 selections. To run through them quickly, we've gone for Ostilio each way in the 225 at Lingfield. We've gone Spartan Fighter and Mostelim, both each way in the 7:15 at Newcastle, and Pulse of Shanghai to hopefully go well at a massive price in the 8 o'clock at Dundalk. Also, if you've been watching my selections for every race at Dundalk and Newcastle, running across the bottom of the screen. Make sure you make a note of them. We'll be previewing all the action on ITV tomorrow, so stay tuned across our socials. As always, any likes, comments, and shares, very much welcome. And fingers crossed, touch wood, and good luck if you follow.